Yes, I am back. Finally. I know, right? It's been quite a while since I've made an upload, guys. I do realize that. Thank you for your concern. So I did finish writing my story. And here is part 1 of 2. This story is called The Black Suit. Make sure you guys let me know down in the comments whether you liked it, disliked it, tell me some things that I could improve on, so on and so forth, because this is my very first story. So, without further ado, let us begin. This story is called The Black Suit. Honey, close the window. Don't you see it's pouring out? The window rolled up with its usual hum as Sarah looked out at the passing farmland. The rain has always dazzled her for as long as she could remember. Dad, I hate to be annoying, but when will we get there? Sarah questioned. I'll tell you the same thing I told you the last time, sweetie. We will be there in the morning. Andrew spoke reassuringly to his daughter, though he knew he'd missed a turn. It had been a while since he'd seen his mother. We just need to take this next turn, and I promise you, I will find a rest area so we can get some sleep. We'll figure it out in the morning. Sarah reached for her backpack and took out her iPod. She found her headphones, but they were a tangled mess. Dad, why do headphones always tangle? She asked. Honey, I don't know why, but maybe when we get to your grandmother's, I can help you untangle them. Dad, it's fine. I'm not 6 anymore, Sarah muttered while she untangled the headphones after bashing them on the seat a few times. She hated road trips, but she was happy it was raining. The bumps of the mistreated road led Sarah to sleep. She dozed off after her favorite song finished playing for the 3rd time. Andrew saw the blue sign at least a quarter mile out. Rest area ahead, 5 miles. He could already feel his eyelids growing heavy as he fought to stay awake. It's about time, he thought. At this rate, I'll pass out soon. Andrew steered the car into the right lane, then he took the rest stop exit. When he pulled into the parking spot, he looked out through the rain to see how many other cars there were. He counted 4, all a reasonable distance from him. He looked back at his daughter, who was now stretched out over the entire back seat. I love you, baby girl. Sleep well, he whispered. He looked at the dash clock after grabbing his jacket from the passenger seat. 11:45 it read. Andrew scrunched up his jacket behind his head and let sleep take control. Dad? Andrew woke to Sarah whispering in his ear. His eyes opened slowly, and he rubbed them while asking, What is it, honey? I'm hungry, Sarah began, and I need to pee. All right. Let's see what the machines have here. I could use a bite myself. Andrew tossed his jacket onto the passenger seat and glanced at the clock. It read 7:13. Andrew stepped out of the car and embraced the fresh air. He loved how it smelled after fresh rainfall. Sarah jogged ahead and went straight to the bathroom. Anything in particular that you want from the machine, honey? Andrew hollered at Sarah. No, Dad, I want to pick it out myself. Thank you, though, she shouted back while having just entered the bathroom. Andrew noticed the same 4 cars were there from the night before. Probably sleeping off their drives as well, he pondered. He walked up to the vending machine, which was right outside a pavilion next to the larger building with the restrooms. Multiple concrete paths led from the parking lot to the buildings, and a rather large map was in the middle of the path. He also spotted a second map next to the vending machines. Andrew walked up to it and got his bearings, although he found the words on the map incoherent in places as if written by hand and not printed. He then turned his attention to the vending machine, in which he spotted a sticky bun and a bag of peanut M&Ms. As he was typing the numbers for the M&Ms, he suddenly felt arms wrap around his waist. He spun around and grabbed them to see that it was his daughter. "Don't do that, honey. You scared me," he gasped. She giggled. "Do they have Reese's?" She spotted them before he could answer, and she quickly held out her hand. "Oh, right," Andrew remembered. He reached and grabbed his food from the tray of the machine, then handed her 8 quarters. "Don't spend it all in one place." Sarah responded with a smile. "Nice one, Dad. I'll try my very hardest." She then pretended to salute him and continued to giggle. "All right, honey, just head back to the car when you've made your choice. I'm going to head to the bathroom really quick." Andrew walked towards the bathroom with the sound of quarters falling through the machine fading behind him. As the automatic blow dryer began after Andrew washed his hands, he noticed something peculiar in the mirror. Hung around it was a bright red tie that seemed oddly out of place. No one was in the bathroom now, and he swore he heard no one enter the bathroom while he was going about his business. He pulled it off the mirror and ran it through his hands. It was a nice silk. He flipped it over, and attached to the back was what appeared to be a tag. He held it closer to the light, as it was rather dull in the bathroom. It read, "Number 1, in a gray-colored text, which was rather tough to see as the tag itself was black. Andrew stuffed it in his pocket and headed back to the car. Sarah was waving through the windshield, giving him that bright smile he has always loved. Andrew slowly pulled up to the gate to his mother's farmhouse just before 3 o'clock. They were an hour late, but he had called his mother earlier to warn her. She was the definition of a hard-working woman. She and the farmhand, Jess, were the only ones keeping it going. The car rolled to a stop right outside the house's long front porch. "All right, Sarah, we're finally here." Sarah's head shot up from the back seat, and she quickly reached to unbuckle her seatbelt. She pulled up the lock, pulled on the door handle, and kicked it out. Andrew's mother, Jane, was already outside leaning on the door to the house. She looked fairly young for her age, and her body was better built than an average man. Her hair was a light brown with just a strand or two of gray, and she was wearing her signature look, overalls and boots. She was short, sweet, and a wonderful mother. Her smile was the first thing to catch Andrew's eye as he stepped from his car. Sarah ran up the creaking porch steps to Jane and jumped into her arms as Andrew began unpacking the car. The house was old, but holding together well. The dinner table was covered in dishes of assorted foods, mostly farm fresh, as Jane poured Andrew a cup of coffee in the kitchen. He loved her cooking. It always reminded him of his younger days. "Would Sarah like some freshly squeezed orange juice? I bought it thinking of her while I was at the market today," Jane called towards the dining room, where Sarah was talking with Jess. "I would love some, Grandma Jane. Thank you so much," Sarah answered as she stuck her head in the room. Jane brought out the drinks, followed by Andrew, and placed them in front of Sarah and Jess at the dining table. As she was about to take her seat at the table, the doorbell rang. "Those damn kids at the ranch down the street have been ringing my bell and running away. I caught them yesterday and scolded them, but this time I don't think I'll be so kind," Jane remarked as she hustled to the door, annoyed. "Andrew, honey, you better come take a look at this," she shouted from the porch, motioning to Andrew to follow her. "I'll come with," Sarah began as she started to rise from her seat. "Stay here, honey, and drink your juice," Andrew protested immediately. "I'll be right back." As Andrew approached the door, he could see the worried look in his mother's eyes. Walking through the open door and past his mother, he saw that his car had been ransacked. The mirrors were destroyed, the hood bent, every window broken, the tires slashed, and the headlights demolished. Andrew quickly sprinted to the car, overcome with astonishment at such a sight. He had left some of his belongings in there, and worried to know if they were taken. Once he reached the car, he gasped to see that the seats had been ripped up, The glove box was smashed open, and everything in the trunk was searched through. Whoever was here, they definitely were not doing it for the money. They left my laptop bag and camera, Andrew thought. He grabbed the bags and turned around to see his mother staring at him in horror. He ran up to her and pulled her into a tight embrace. "I'm glad you're all right," he breathed. She also let out a deep breath, realizing she had been holding her breath the entire time. He knew she could handle herself. Jane told him she'd file a police report now. Dinner could wait. She marched straight to the kitchen and dialed the sheriff's number into the house phone. Andrew walked over to Sarah and explained what had happened. Listening to the conversation, Jess got up from the table and went to go check on the animals at the farm. "Dad, I just want to go to bed. I'm not hungry anymore. This car thing has got me freaked out," she mumbles after Jane returned to the table. "All right, sweetie, you go head up to bed. I'll be up within the hour." Andrew kissed her on her cheek. He watched her walk up the stairs and then questioned his mother about what the sheriff had told her. Had anything like this happened around here before? Just as Andrew was about to taste the casserole Grandma Jane made, Sarah came sprinting down the stairs. She held out what appeared to be a sealed letter. "Dad, this was on your bed. It wasn't there before," she panted, out of breath. Andrew took the envelope from her and grabbed a butter knife to open it. He reached in and pulled out a white folded card. The cover of the card read, "Dear Mr. Andrew." The inside words sent a chill down Andrew's spine. "Be prepared for hell." Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to hear more of what I do here. If you like what you heard, make sure you give this video a like, as your support means everything to me. I hope you have a marvelous day. And as always, stay creepy.